I've been to a lot of different business masterminds, personal development masterminds, and by far, without a doubt, Chris Howard's programs are the best.
My life changed fundamentally. I was going through some really tough times emotionally with a relationship that wasn't working. I came out of that relationship and I was just lost.
Came from a place where I could hardly speak for 33 years on overcoming stammering. But then once you've suddenly made that much change, the question is, well, who's doing the talking? And I'm so glad that I found Chris at that stage in my development, because I didn't know about values. I didn't know about half the stuff about myself.
A few years back, I was employed doing 60 to 70 hours per week, very busy, without ever thinking about what I really wanted from my life. I had a lot of debt. I thought it was all good debt. I'd bought the nice car and I'd spent it on things I wanted to spend it on. None of it was earning me any income, so I was pretty debt high. So yeah, I had a lot coming in, but it was going out, and it was a good life, but there was nothing left at the end of the month. In fact, most months there was a little bit of shortfalls.
Well, let's face it, all of us have got a bit of a tendency to put off things. And I'm one of them. So with this structure, actually gives me a clear vision of what to do, where to go to achieve it.
You can't hide from yourself when you work with Chris.
I think when I look back, I could not have survived the level of challenges that I had in terms of relationship breakdown in a bad way, and finding out where my children were, and extracting myself eventually from a 31-year corporate career in managing science, and coming out of that in good shape and ready to launch what is my own business now, Next Level Speaking. So lots of work to do still, but when I look back, I couldn't have done any of that without these skills and techniques that I've learned.
You should have seen my bank account.
It is the part for me that was missing from the curriculum when I was in school. If I had a tiny incy-wincy bit of these skills from childhood, my life would have been very different. I wouldn't have experienced the level of pain that I experienced in certain aspects of my life.
He has this ability to cause me to think beyond what I knew before.
I like learning with Chris that it is so deep. And it gets into me in a very, very easy way. And because it is consciously and subconsciously together.
I have an extraordinary network of friends who also learn with Chris and have given themselves the opportunity to take themselves to greater and higher heights in their lives, and that is extraordinary.
He has the ability to see who I am and to see my potential, and therefore, as a coach, as a personal development, as a transformational coach, he knows how to communicate with me so I can really reach out to the world and do the things I need to do to accomplish my goals in life I need to accomplish.
People who would benefit from learning from Chris are those who are ready for change, are those who are ready to step up and really commit to themselves to be the best that they can be. Chris's work is not for those people who are prepared to continue to live from a place of excuses and lack.
Simply, I'm no longer the same person. I used to be a very narrow-minded person, and now I can now recognize myself. I'm a completely new person, and I completely love myself for who I am and where I'm going with business and in my life.
I've got my own coaching company, which I've been running for the last 10 years.
So Chris Howard knows how the human mind works. He's very interested in who you are and how you think and where you're going. He's a transformational coach. He's a tremendous business coach. He also knows how to lead you to where you want to be. He can recognize where you are, and he can absolutely transform you. He is a god at personal development and business strategy and development, and leading you to where you want to be in business and self-discovery.
For anyone that's going through a life change, a career, or relationships, or even health, it's just could be the perfect time for you to kind of invest in yourself and invest in the next stage of your life.
I have invested a lot of money. If I can tell you, it's been more than $35,000. But this is nothing to who I am today. My skills, my abilities, and my bank account tremendously exceed my monetary investment, and I don't even think about it. I would invest triple to Chris Faust.
I'm a person who likes to deliver. I'm a person who wants to succeed, and to succeed quick and most efficiently. This weekly course gives me much faster speed.
And I knew that Chris was the person who was to coach and mentor me in order to do some really big things in my life. I just had that gut instinct.
So what I love about learning with Chris is that he is hands down the best communicator that I've ever met. And he just speaks to your values and communicates clearly and concisely. And it's just, as someone who wants to learn about communication myself, that is just the mentor that I need to work with, and it's been fantastic.
Simply, I'm no longer the same person. I used to be a very narrow-minded person, and now I cannot recognize myself. I'm a completely new person, and I completely love myself for who I am and where I'm going with business and in my life.
You know, massive personal change in mindset.
An accelerated level of transformation.
Was the perfect environment in which to saturate myself in finding out about who I am and the best person that I can become. Yeah, I think you've got to come along and experience it, but it's like nothing else that you can probably perceive.
He really leads you, he really gets you, and he really leads you to new awarenesses that you really, really need to get in order that you can move forward in a really powerful way that engages you with all of yourself.
You should have seen my bank account. Every time I work with Chris, it jumps up, and the revenue jumps up, and this is a strange correlation, but I don't know. It just happens every time I learn with Chris. I definitely benefited.
Now my mental attitude about business, my strategies that I received from him, what I value about life and how that comes back in monetary value has tremendously expanded. I no longer see myself the way I did before, and I had a poor mindset, and now my mindset has tremendously expanded.
I like that it expands my mind. You live in one space and then you move to another, and it's like going to a rocket to the moon. All these new adventures and amazing things that you find, and you just get to live your life even more greatly than you have before.
I expanded my way of doing things. I now run my own company. It's turned over a six-figure turnover 2 years in a row. It's got a nice gross margin on there, so I've got lifestyle, I've travelled, I've had my daughter, and I'm now moving from a position of real financial security to financial freedom.
Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, financially, yes. Without a shadow of a doubt. What's really exciting is my next level of learning of the gaps that are being filled in by Chris's brilliance, his understandings and his knowledge and wisdom in terms of how I can apply that over the next 10 years of my life. And now that is really exciting, because what lights me up is making huge changes, huge positive changes. And I know that the skills that I have now will really, really help that and propel that forward.
I would say the biggest return on investment I've had is the quality of life, because I've got so much more balance now. I do believe I wouldn't have actually had my daughter if it hadn't been for the fact that I went on my first course with Chris, because I'd still be working so hard. I wouldn't have taken the time out that I needed to be able to get that part of my life right.
My outlook on life is brighter. I have cleared through so much trauma.
I have invested a lot of money. If I can tell you, it's been more than $35,000. But this is nothing to who I am today. My skills, my abilities, and my bank account tremendously exceed my monetary investment, and I don't even think about it. I would invest triple to Chris Howard.
Have had a return on my investment? Hell yeah. When it comes to relationships, which could be business or personal relationship, it is not so important that people are glazing into each other's eyes. It is more important that people look in the same direction. And working with Chris, I'm absolutely certain that we're looking together in the same direction.
It's going to take you places you never thought you'd go, and get on and do it, because you only get this life this one time, and you may have wanted to start before and never quite got around to it. Why not start now? Why not take the chance, take the risk, and move your life onto the fast lane?
It's off the planet brilliant. That's all I can say.
It's just completely life-changing, and if you've got any doubts, I've had multiples of returns of investment over the last 8 years. Do it, you won't regret it.